NB, I think something's wrong with your emojis. I think they're stuck somehow. But I hope you're okay. I hope you're not. Are you signaling for help, NB? Is that what that's about? Those of you that are in the grotto, feel free to chat at me as usual, like we're in a regular LFG. I'm watching the grotto chat, so feel free to play along at home as usual. And as we get a few people in here that aren't grotto, they can feel free to ask questions and come on up. Of course, this is sort of last minute. We'll see if we can get anybody in here. Hi there, Daddy V and Rasher. Welcome to LFG. This is our daily reunion of sorts where we get together and talk about all things threesomes. And today, of course, we're just going to open it up. Hi there, Bits. Nice to see some Bassfish Mafia in here, which is one of our sister communities. But last night was really great. Ended up... I went to NF Tuesdays here in LA, and Door Gang and Grotto members showed up. So we had Breezy and Jake, that's Jake with a D. Breezy and Jake showed up from Door Gang and Grotto, made the trek in, which was great because, I sort of gave everybody just a little bit of time to know I was in town. And really fun to hang out with them, and I'm going to a quick dinner with them afterwards. Cebu was there. He's often there, so he didn't just come for me. But always fun to see him and hear stories of him sort of being, everybody in the space calls themselves a degenerate, but Cebu has been a professional degenerate since like 2011 on the blockchain. It's pretty great. So he's got all sorts of stories. And then he brought with him, well, I don't know if they came together. I don't even think they came together. But a guy who came to our spaces last Friday, the one that I did with In Lucebra, and first time he heard about us. And ended up buying a few pieces, and then he saw that I was going to be at NF Tuesdays, so he came out and just wanted to meet me. And he's a rare Pepe collector and creator, and has been in that scene for a long time. So very cool that he stopped by. So this I had some issues this morning, little complications to get us started at 9:30. So I think we may have lost a lot of Indo Grotto to get us in here today, but let's just go ahead and do classic LFG with no structure. I don't have much news to put out there because we've been talking every day, and I'm just painting. I'm just, even though I'm here in LA, I have all my stuff with me to work on threesies. I'm going to be going either this afternoon or tomorrow morning to a baseball card shop in Beverly Hills, which is it's kind of a neat thing. They focus on vintage cards, but not necessarily superstar cards, not like valuable stuff, like more commons for putting sets together and stuff. And so essentially, I can just hit them up with any specific card that I need, and within like 3 hours, you can just stop by and pick them up. And I mean, talking like all the old vintage stuff. So, like, well, you guys saw the piece that the Threesies piece that Lucha Abracadabra he bought right during the Nifty auction. That one of one, which is the basis piece for, of course, all of the Threesies that we're working on now. But all of that card, that's a single card from 1978, right? Not exactly easy to pick up in that quantity. And so Collector Die at one point had sent me a bunch of them, not knowing why I had asked them for them. And then I went to the shop and picked up all the rest. So it's kind of a neat place. Very old school baseball card feel, baseball card store. So it's got an old feel to it. It's not like the new stuff where it's all modern. but kind of neat. So I'll be going there, picking up some stuff which will be used in some Cardinale defrocking that's left to be done. And how long did it take me to find that shop, says D-Bot Cherry, who's in the Grotto chat. It didn't take me long. It was the sort of thing where one of the first times I came to LA, I just, did a little Google search, and there it was, and called, and the guys told me their process, and it was like perfect. It's like old school. Like they just have monster box after monster box of comments, but they do the pulling for you, which is great. Here's the thing. He's asking me if they care that I paint stuff. I talked to them about it, and I showed them some stuff when I went in the first time, and they didn't give a fuck. They're like, yeah, you're a painter. Oh, they weren't like, they're just, I think they're just old and dusty and have been living the same life, like buying and selling common baseball cards for 40 years, that they really didn't care. It's kind of funny. They were not impressed by any stretch. They're also like bitter and old in a good way. So yeah, it's a cool place. I like it. It is right up my alley. Like Beef says. So I'll be doing that, and then Chris Truman has a couple things lined up for me that I've got to do, meetings and such. And from there, when I'm all done, I'll fly back to New York. Everybody, text today was saying, well, at least the weather out here is great, right? And I guess it is, but that's not going to do it for me. Like, weather doesn't dictate something for me one way or the other. The energy in New York is certainly far better than the energy out here for me. I need a little more friction and energy, like street energy. Here it's just a little too low key. But yeah, I mentioned this. I went a little bit into it, and then we'll open up for a question or two to get started. But there's a legitimate scene out here. They have like meetups, 2 or 3 scheduled meetups a week, focused on the NFT side, and really focused on the art side of the NFT space, which is remarkable. In New York, they have meetups, and they're all DeFi bros that just are talking crypto and look at it as like a crypto play. And so, it's here. They have some of that, yeah, but it's also like spawned off into these other, like groups that just hang out, and they had like a presentation from a collective that's got like an on-cyber gallery, and had their focus from last month into this month into like Black history. Now it's more women's history, and every week they have some new project that gets up and pitches, basically. So it's very much happening out here in ways that New York is just lacking. So that's nice, and I enjoy that. I like that when I come out here, there's a scene, and there's a lot of there's a big gallery scene developing here around NFTs. There's sort of old world galleries jockeying for the NFT space, no question. Still yet to see a space come that really understands NFT. And we can talk about that a little bit at some point. It's sort of interesting, the take that people have in the gallery space of trying to cram NFTs into the old gallery world, not understanding commissions or wallets or how it's done, which is a major fault when it comes to putting this stuff into real world spaces, is who's getting paid and how. And galleries, I've yet to see a real understanding of it. I think it'll evolve, and I think what we'll end up with is galleries being more secondary marketplaces as we think of them in the NFT space. In which case they buy the pieces outright from the artist. I think that's the only way to do it. It becomes a retail space, like a retail secondary market. But we're not quite there. But I think that's where it's successful. Because right now, for a gallery to make as much as they're used to making, they've got to be involved, and then for the transaction itself, right? They've got to be involved in the wallet So a lot of these galleries are having artists mint on a gallery wallet, which is fucked. Yeah, would you like to come up, Lucas? Is that what you're saying? I'll bring you up if you got a question for us. So it's it's a little different how it's going to play out from how it looks right now, I believe, because right now it's sort of a clusterfuck with gallerists failing to understand the real space. But anyhow, yeah, let's start. We're just going to open this up as this is the sort of thing that we used to do when I was alternate side parking in New York. So I live in New York, and Tuesdays and Thursdays have to move my car from one side of the street to the other until my car was stolen and I was freed from the shackles of alternate side parking. So I don't have to do that anymore. But that was sort of we would just when I'd have to be sitting in the car for 90 minutes, we would just open up an AMA like this. So anything goes. Any questions? For those of you that are new to the grotto or new to my collection, the one thing I never talk about, and you'll just get a polite standard answer, but I do not discuss future utility. So you don't ever ask, what will this thing do? You talk about all threesomes have future utility. Well, what is that? Well, no, that's the whole point of it being future utility. The moment it's announced, then you get to plan for it. So no, I won't discuss future utility. Happy to discuss things that have already been announced and explain them a bit better. But we won't discuss future utility. So save yourselves the questions. But anybody want to? We got a request. There it is. Hey, D-Bot Cherry. Okay. You are live and kicking. Go ahead and ask. Go ahead and talk. Go ahead and tell us about your project that you're dropping on Friday. This is Open Space. What do you got, D-Bot?
Hey, what's going on, Threes? Thanks for the intro for the project. First question is, do you ever think that we'll get to a place where the physical art is secondary and the digital art will go, in a more prominent role, and the galleries will have to, shift focus to that? Or do you always think that the physical art world will be still huge?
Well, I think that's an interesting take, right? Because there's a chance that the fact that you can carry your collection around on your phone and show it off becomes a major piece of clout, right? And becomes a major part of the whole scene where, the ease of showing off a collection digitally, even the digital representation of your physical pieces, okay, becomes pretty major. I think we're seeing it now where there's a whole new generation of people who believe that they're art collectors because they're involved in the NFT space, right? I think eventually the public will feel more in tune with collecting art because it's done so easily. The idea, look, if I go back and sort of tie it, which is funny because you guys know I can't stand baseball cards and I'm not really a baseball fan anymore, right? And I say that every once in a while. But if I go back to the early days of baseball cards going digital, and it was very much a selling point for me that I could have thousands and thousands of baseball cards on a phone and not have to worry about storage and not have to worry about lugging them around. There were a lot of holes in that system, of course, because it was early, the way there are for us now in NFTs. But the idea of displaying and showing off and sharing a collection digitally, I think, becomes a huge, huge selling point. And so I think, I'm not going to put a timeline on it, but I think eventually people will be so comfortable with the concept of digital art, even like I said, if it's a digital representation of a physical piece, that it'll have a lot of traction. I can't say for certain that it'll replace the idea of physical art. I mean, I'm a physical artist, right? I can't get to the digital without starting with the physical. I think that's the case in a lot of people as they transition into this. Of course, you have the pure digitals, which is a new thing. But I do, and with a long-winded answer, I think we're absolutely headed to a point where it becomes as important and as acceptable to collect and display digitally, and to have a conversation about it digitally. And I think that's where we're headed. Um, I think you'll have holdouts. The way I just described a baseball card shop that's been open for 40 years, with grumpy old men who like to go in and have dusty cards in their hands. You'll always have that, and you'll have people who feel that art should only be a dusty old canvas in a museum. Same thing. So I like that conversation. What do you think, D-Bot?
I mean, I always get the shops with those old curmudgeon guys in it. Whenever you go into either game shops or card shops or taking the kids in for board games or whatever it is, everybody likes the physical aspect of it, and that's the biggest argument I get towards the digital stuff is, well, can I hold it in my hands? Well, I'm like, well, can you hold money in your hands? Because that's what these are worth. But no, it's I got to roll real quick, but I just wanted to put out the NFT box Tez. Threesomes is in it, and gracious enough to give us a couple base cards of the last series coders. So if you want to follow me, you can see the NFT box Tez link up in my profile, and there's a bunch of awesome artists from the Grotto too. Kid 8's in there. 5 minute stories is in there. So just give me a follow and check it out. I appreciate the time, Therese.
Yeah, anytime, man. Appreciate you, D-Bot. Yeah, so he basically it's a 101 box, and it'll come with all sorts of surprise NFTs, and there might have been announced. And I'm doing 3 pieces from my last series. So utility-wise, that'll give you a jump start on what we call holder utility, right? Which would be you get the opportunity to be entered into the drawing that corresponds to the number on that painting. So, for next series, when we drop, say, number 2, anybody holding a number 002, a number 2, is entered into the drawing. So you would get 3 places because there's 3 different ones, or you could also just burn all 3 to get a guaranteed new slot on any of the new series. So those are some of the ways that those will play out in the basic utilities. And of course, down the road, coders have future utility beyond those things. So it's a neat way to pick up some pieces if you don't have them. Get some other art. Like you said, there's some Kid 8 5-minute stories. I think this is a robots in there. But yeah, so check D-Bot's stuff out. Anybody else got anything for me on this AMA, or was this just more of an ask me something, and we already got that out of the way? Don't be shy. Allie from BFM, we met over the weekend. She and her lovely husband, Rob, came down to hang with the Basefish Mafia in Las Vegas, and I was out there for that. And they are Allie at least is eager to join the Grotto. And she hung with the Grotto in ways that mere mortals can't. So we're very proud to get her in here soon. Nice to see you in the spaces. Sandman was also there in Vegas. Same thing. Now Sandman is, of course, heavy Grotto, and deservedly so. Sandman was going hard. It was going hard all night and past the night, and then it was like at one point it was like, I need to go gamble enough to get my free suite here, so to pay for my suite that they gave me because he gambles a lot. Miz in chat says Rob Roy, asking about Rob, and of course Rob Roy is the official cocktail of the Grotto. Which is my favorite drink, and I've pretty much at some point everybody's had one if they've been in the Grotto real life. with it. But we already have a Rob Roy legend who, when we met at Slime Sundays thing, ended up buying drinks for everybody throughout the entire night, and nobody knew who the hell this kid was. It was kind of cool. But, well, if you're not going to ask me anything, what else am I going to tell you? Those of you who don't know, the project that I say I'm painting that I'm working on is Threesies. So you guys all see my profile pic there, and that's the piece that Abracadabra bought on the nifty charity auction. But I've taken 100 copies of that card, and in the collectible sense, so looking at like what you guys got, you got Bored Ape, you got Talk, you got Basefish, you got a G-Vol. The same way that those are quote unquote, and I'm not going to, sorry, Pandemic, I can't reference yours because we all know how that one ended. But the same way that those have specific traits which are randomly assigned to them and then overlaid. Those are all just Photoshop overlays at the end of the day, right? But that's what we know as collectibles. So I decided to do my take and my spin on the collectible approach. And my dev, Joelby, who's a member of the community of the Grotto, he and I came up with an algorithm that takes the operational hash, the transactional hash number from each of the purchases, and then we made sure and drew it out. Pandemic's chatting at me. I'll get to that. But we drew it out so that it would give us, it would assign traits. And the traits that I'm using are all of my, the characteristics from all of the paintings that had come previously, all the threesomes. And so, specific traits to specific characters that were painted or to teams ended up being 130 traits that were possible. And then they were shuffled around, and each piece would, what happened is we took those traits, and the traits, I was told what to paint on the card. So we made the sale before I had painted on them, and then was told which traits, and they got between 5 and 9 traits on each one. And then I've been painting them to reveal them, and we're getting really close to that, which is going to be an exciting day. So let's see. Anybody got anything for me? Might just make this a short one. This was really supposed to be, it's all my bad, but it was supposed to be focused on Indonesian time, so we can get Indo Grotto in here because they tend to miss our LFGs that we do at 4:30. We'll bring Habitat up here. All right, you're up and live as soon as that kicks in. Welcome. How you going? Oh yeah, no, doing okay. Living this wacky California life for the week. It's not my bag, but I'm out here.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. No, I've basically what it is. I've kind of like been following you since I kind of started with this whole NFT stuff and like Tezos and stuff. I kind of got into Tezos and a bit of ETH, but then I kind of like really got drawn to Tezos and stuff. Plus it's a little bit more affordable for me. Yeah, I was just wondering, because like I've seen the Grotto, and I've obviously, apart from following you on like Twitter and stuff, and like however I can, like is what's like the best way to kind of like get the utility maybe for like your cards and stuff? Because I've got a couple of cards that you've kind of like I've won in like just like the raffles and stuff off the Google Sheets and stuff.
Perfect.
And I just wanted to kind of know like what I've held them as well. Like it's not like something I want to sell or anything. I'm not really in NFTs like for that kind of like too much flipping, right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, of course. So a big part of it, mainly when we talk about utility, one of the things that we're really speaking to is the idea of being able to get more in the future, right? Because I try to keep my additions low, and I keep my additions proportionally low to the community involved. Okay, so they do grow over time. Our initial drops was 22. We've had a couple. That's the lowest public drop we've had is 22 editions. But now we're up to about 88 to 100 is what a typical drop is based on the amount of people that are trying to get them. I can't make it where it's absolutely impossible to get them, right? Then you'd lose interest because you'd have zero shot, right? But the whole idea is there's more people that want them than can get them, right? So I've got mechanics in there that improve your chances. That's really what when I talk about future utility, for the most part, it's about improving your chances of getting additional paintings in the future. So a big part of that is centered around holders. So the fact that you have hit some in those drawings, in the public drawings, right? You're a holder of those pieces, and that piece will have a number. Every series has a specific number to it, right? And there's series 7 number 003, series 7 number 009, whatever. Well, as I do the new drops, whatever number corresponds, you're entered into the holders drawings. Over time, you go from one entry, okay, and then every 3 series it compounds. Now this is going to get a little complex sounding, but just bear with me here, okay? You get additional entries the older your card is. Okay, and that the card acquires more entries every 3 series. So if you have a series 7 Cardinale, okay, series 8, 9, and 10 have to pass. At 11, it doubles. Okay,
I get you. I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and that happens in perpetuity. So like right now, coming up into our series 9, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're going to be doubling. At the end of 9, we double series 2. So then it'll be up to the point where it's getting 4 entry drop that you have of a series 2, and so on and so forth. That's sort of one of the main ones there. The other thing is you can at any time take 3 older base cards and burn them for a guaranteed slot. So that's something, sometimes people are able to pick up multiples on the cheap because the pricing is so cheap on our public drops that you could stack 3 of them and quickly just guarantee yourself a slot if you really need it for a chase or you really want the first one or whatever. So that's another way.
Okay. So, oh right. Okay. Wow. So, okay. So what I don't think I've ever seen like a public drop. I've only kind of seen like a raffle, if you know what I mean.
Right. Well, and those raffles, yeah. So the raffles are my public drops, and that's
okay. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
I had to do that because the bots had already gotten to me by my like third week of doing this, right? And so to keep it away from the bots, we took it away from them entirely. Bots can't enter drawings without being caught. So I won't sell through a public drop because the scripts and the bots just hit it so hard that it takes away from the collectors. So what we do is we have that form. So all of my quote unquote public drops, that just means that the public can enter these forms. So that's how you've gotten your stuff in the past.
Okay, cool.
But you're just so you know, you're automatically entered by being a holder, right? By having those pieces that you got in the past, your wallet goes up on the board. We every drop during Live from the Grotto, we have the wheel that spins with everybody's name on it. Everybody's watching it live. That's in the grotto, and so by being a holder, you're already entered in all of those. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say yes, I want my entry. It's automatic, and then you would be contacted if you hit. Is how it happens.
Okay.
Now, you're asking what's the other way you can get into it? How can you use utility, right?
Yeah.
All of the cards marked inserts, and that includes, even the Valentines that just dropped. Those are inserts, okay? But any of my cards marked insert, you can burn those every time we do a drop. Every one you burn is one entry into a separate drawing. We have the holders, and then we have burners. And so every one you burn gets you an entry into that day's drop for. It's based on how many people burn, but anywhere between 4 and 18 that we sell that way. And so the inserts are meant to be utility tokens, which you're using for entries into the draws. So they'll have that. They already have that announced utility. They will have other utilities, each one specifically to that particular project. But that's a good way. So right now, if you go you got some probably because you own some. The Grotto like gave you some of those pink Valentines. You can go buy some on the cheap for maybe 0.3, 0.4, something like that. And so what the Grotto does is they stack them up, and we'll have guys who will burn 100 of them at a time for 100 entries, and maybe they get lucky and hit 2 or 3 or 4 chances to buy, right? And so that's another element of utility on the public drops is you can burn all those cheap inserts for chances to buy. And really, then you're just looking at like a cost-based averaging of how much you're in to buy and how much these things would cost you on the secondary market. So if you really are trying to collect like a full team and put together your full series set, you're either going to be forced to buy on the secondary, or you're going to have to play one of these games of utility.
Okay. Okay, man. Okay. Yeah, that's sweet, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, it clears up a lot of things, and it kind of tied up a few kind of loose ends. Like with the whole burning and stuff like that. I kind of get it. Like like I said, I've been in this space for about 6-7 months, but like I mean, up until I've had to go back to work, running out of savings. Like I've been on for like 4 or 5 days at a time, man, and like 2 hours, 3 hours sleep, and I've been back on it just trying to learn and just anything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like
I appreciate it. Definitely, I appreciate you sticking with me. And yeah, look, I'm not.
Oh, and also as well, this is I'm not like meaning to like kind of like talk about our projects or whatever, but this is how I found out about Dicks, and I got into it. So yeah, no man, like I dig what you do, and yeah man, I think I think
no. Please, this is an open forum. I mean, we talk about if you have projects or you're in other projects you want to talk about. That's what it's about. And Dick's Ashley Wicker is one of my biggest collectors. He's the guy. He's the brain trust at Dick's, and he's really got a really expansive project that he's trying to pull off over there. That sort of. It says a lot about the NFT scene and what's gone wrong and how he wants to fix it. And I'm all for it. And I contributed some art to that. I was a part of one of my pieces we gave to his charity auction. A one of one there, my PFP, of course. So I did that, and I have a piece when he does get around to dropping the whole series. I've got a piece in there that you can get I think 10 or 20 variations of. I think is what I did. So yeah, no, I'm definitely support Dicks, and I'm happy to talk about him. So don't feel bad about that at all. But I appreciate it, and I'm glad that you stuck with it because I'm not going to lie. I've structured this project where I don't want it to be an easy thing to collect, because you're right, it's not, and there's complexities to the project that are as important to me as the artwork, right? The mechanisms and the utility plays are as much my creativity as the paintings, and so what I expect and what I hope from a collector is that they're intrigued enough to hang around enough to ask the questions to figure it out. And I don't want, my stuff becomes worth a lot of money, right? I've got a really good return, a really good market on it. I don't want people to be able to come in and casually bombard that and see how they can make some quick dough. I'm more than happy for people who put in a little effort, a little time, or a little energy to make all the money in the world. I want them to. It's structured so that, if you put some time and effort, you can do very well. But I love it when I've got somebody who hasn't quite made it into the Grotto, but you're hanging around, and I appreciate that. And so, it means a lot to us. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for taking the time to ask.
Yeah, no, honestly, mate, thank you very much. And I'm sticking around with your projects, and I'm kind of like like there's some of the most valuable in my Tezos collection kind of thing. So like I'm like. If I sold them, I could pick up like a load more like kind of art that I've kind of been looking at and stuff. But yeah, no, I think it's well, it's great.
Don't ever. Oops, we got a little feedback there. Don't ever feel bad about selling my stuff. And I've got a lot of people who have funded their Tez collections. They bought dozens and dozens and dozens more pieces because they're able to get my stuff and then sell it and do that. And I don't begrudge that. The joke is this is not financial advice, right? But my advice would be hold some if you can, because as you've seen over time, I mean that it does it does pay off. Um, so balance that. Feel free to sell my stuff to buy more art, absolutely. But at the same time, you don't shoot yourself in the foot as far as giving up too early on my pieces, right?
It's definitely, man. I'll go to work, man. I'll just earn some more money, get some more Tezes, then I'll get some of the other art. But I'm keeping your shit, man.
Awesome, really appreciate it. Thanks for popping in. It means a lot. Got anything else?
No worries, man. Thank you. I'll catch you in a bit, man.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, take care. All right, well, that was fun. Anybody else got something for me? Burning questions that you haven't been able to reach me on yet? I mean, I'm pretty open book if you can get a hold of me, but this is a chance. Like I said, this is normally. I got a question here from Baby Beeps on the grotto. I'll get to that in a second. But normally, this is what I would do when I was moving my car from one side of the street in New York to the other on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then somebody relieved me of my car by stealing it and saved my life. So it was. It's been a while since we've done this straight up. Ask me anything. Okay, so Beep says, "What's one artist you admire right now in the space?" Okay, let me think here. Um, you, there's different aspects of this because there's a lot of artists that I admire their pieces, their work. Okay, um, I could go on and on about those, but I'm thinking right now of somebody that I admire sort of their work as well as their whole approach, right? Because I think it's one thing just to make your stuff and put it up for sale. And then not do anything about it, and not work with it, and not connect, and not take it to that next level. I think that the NFT space, if you're not taking it beyond the piece itself, okay, and that could be just building a great community, that could be some sort of interaction with your collectors, but I mean, look, Chris Truman, okay, is somebody he's been a physical. His first shows were when he was 18, and he's in his 40s now. So he's been a working painter for 25 years, and he's an abstract painter originally out of Northern California. Now he's in Los Angeles. Gallery spaces in 8 cities. He's got gallery representation in 8 cities. Hardest working man in the business, and yet he dove headfirst into NFT. And not only has he worked, he was one of the very first drops on Nifty. Okay. And his drops were so successful at the time that he doesn't have any secondary, because the only people that bought his stuff early on they've held it. Like it's in the space. It looks like he's got a poor market, because we're all about the stupid secondary market approach to who's doing well and who isn't, right? But he's got holders. He's got actual collectors. They've taken his NFTs and they've collected them, right? His stuff is available on Tez for really cheap. Chris Truman, that's his name on Tez as well. I think it's his Twitter handle. But what he does for other artists is to, you're not talking who I'm inspired by in the space. Chris Truman spends, I think, as much time on his physical and his digital work. He spends as much time supporting emerging artists and really looking for avenues to better their lives and better their exposure. He works tirelessly. So hands down for me, Chris Truman is the most inspirational artist in the space for me, because there's nobody out there who is doing as much. He's not as well known in the NFT circles, which he should be, but he's the artistic consultant and one of the founders on Creator Ranch, which is a new platform, which is it's out and sort of still in a very, not even a beta, but like a really early version of it. But it's the first mobile app where you can pay in dollars and in Tez, and have it on your phone and just connect a Kukai to it and roll with it. You can mint right on the phone. It's got an awful lot going on with it, and he's behind that. And it's he's an inspiration to me on a lot of levels. And so I think that's where there's a lot of art out there that I like. There's a lot of art out there that I can't stand. There's a lot of utility out there I like, and there's a lot of utility I can't stand. There's a lot of projects that try to combine the two. Most of them I can't stand, right? But for as far as an artist who really is doing the most for the space, I think that's it. I like innovators, and I find Blau to be an innovator. I think and he's also a great spokesperson for this space. He's very eloquent. I like Blau in that regard. And I appreciate Pack. He inspires me, but he doesn't inspire me from the sense of anything more than I want to correct all of his wrongs. I want to right his wrongs. I feel that he's a brilliant mind and sort of an evil presence, and so I'm inspired every day to figure out ways to better the world in the wake of his destruction. That's kind of how I feel about that. So I do get a lot of inspiration from Blau and Pac in that regard. So I hope that answers that, Beep. Ratro asks, is there an ETA for 3Z's reveal? And I think at this point, I'm safe to say where I stand with my schedule for the rest of this week, early next week. But I don't want to put a date to it. I'm getting very close. It's just as a matter of, I'm going to lose 6 hours flying back, and so that'll throw me off a little bit. That always makes me a little wacky on that flight back to New York. As long as I don't arrive to any madness in my home life, I think we're looking at early next week, maybe even this weekend. But I don't want to commit to that. Getting very close. Even and I'm sitting here at Studio Wombat. And I'm sitting here with my own little corner of the studio where I'm working. So I'm like literally, my elbows are entrenched around paint tubes. So I'm working on it. And then EJG, this is EJG's comment to Habitat, which is, you can join the grotto with a swipe purchase. So there is one piece which gives you auto entry into the grotto. So then you get to hear all the LFGs and be a part of all of the insight that we have. And that's the swipe to entry. There are two versions. One is 10,000 TES. There's only 33 of those, and that one is not required for entry. But if you have that, you basically can live with me if you want. But the other is the swipe to entry grotto edition. And so what I did is I made a piece, and I just took a screenshot of my phone that showed the alert from LinkedIn, where it's thanking me for having left LinkedIn forever. I completely deleted my account, and I captured that moment and wrote a little piece about that and gave it away to everybody that was in the grotto at the time. As a thank you, I had been a corporate executive for many years and had quite the Rolodex, and I walked away. So to really just be threesomes full time, and the community made that possible. So I gave them a little gift, and then, of course, when I gave it to them, I told them that it had future utility. They had no idea what that would be, but it turns out it's got an awful lot going on, far beyond the fact that, yes, it guarantees you entry into the grotto, but it also it does an awful lot more. There's separate drops. We're talking about this habitat. There's a drop every public drop. There's one spin of the wheel just for swipe holders. Swipe holders just over the Christmas holidays. I did the 12 days of Threesmas, and the only way you could enter those drops was if you owned a swipe, and so on and so forth. So it's a very powerful piece, but it will get you into the grotto. It's the only way that you can bypass the wait list. Another question from Ratro. How did I survive this weekend? Now, he's referencing the fact that I went out to Vegas for the Basefish Mafia meetup. But really, he's referencing the fact that he lives in Vegas, and Ratro is the resident director of fun for the grotto. and he put me through my paces. Probably the biggest, hardest, most challenging workout of my life is culminating Sunday night in absolute madness. That somehow on Monday when I took a little jet that by the time I got to it, I had to puke at the terminal. Landed in LA and had to puke at that terminal, and then still managed to put on an LFG in the afternoon, which goes down as the worst LFG ever. I was slurring and cotton mouthed and just a horrible, horrible mess. So Ratro did his best to destroy me. But I somehow have risen from the ashes. And maybe that's just LA. Maybe the healthy living in LA is what did it for me, Retro. But I'm 2 days removed from the doorway to death. But I've survived. Another question from the Grotto is, will I end the baseball strike? This is from Sucker Punch, one of the original collectors in the Grotto. And the answer would be, what baseball strike? Oh, is there something going on in Major League Baseball? Because I don't follow. If I had the power to end that strike, I probably wouldn't, because I'm actually always on the side of labor. So until the owners concede, I don't want the strike to end. Allie, welcome. Allie, we met this weekend. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well.
Good.
Going well. How's Rob? That's the more important question, is how's your...
Well, we are both on 2 feet as of yesterday. I think I have the same question as Ratro. How did I survive? But thank God I was not there Sunday night. No, we really appreciate you letting us hang out with the Grotto. We had a fantastic time, and it's something memory we'll always have, and it was awesome. So thank you.
Well, I'll say this: you hung out with the Grotto, and you hung with the Grotto till the end on Friday, but Saturday you didn't have it in you. So I don't know what would happen if you came to a full Grotto event, because you only made it 1 out of 2.
I know. I think we needed to warm up, since it was the first time in Vegas. So maybe next time we can do it. I think we can. I think we had it in ourselves, but we just needed, a little bit of
well,
shot.
and as you saw, the Grotto never pushes anybody.
No.
We don't say, come on, you can do this, or you can do it. No, but
you make it very enticing.
Well, and thanks to Ratro for that.
Yes, thank you, Ratro.
He's a big part.
It was a great time. So I am excited to be involved with the Grotto now and, kind of get things going. So I do have one question. I think I'm curious about the drops. How often do you do those? And can you just talk a little bit more about those?
Yeah, of course. So the drops, okay, when we talk about the drops, we tend to be talking about a new series, okay? And we'll bring Ratro up in just a second here. I'm going to bring you up, Rat, but keep yourself on mute till we get through this. So typically, if we're talking about drops, we're talking about a new series. A series of, right now they've been running 10 cards sold and 5 cards earned. That's been sort of the pattern the last little bit. I never commit to structure or anything. We don't talk about when or what. It happens when it's time. But they're all part of a narrative, right? It's a part of building this universe out. Okay, there will be 24 teams. We're 7 teams deep, right? So a new series, a new season, as we're calling them now, as we transition into franchise era. But a new season is made up of a new team. So we'll be revealing a new team. When that happens, it happens when it's time. It's not a set schedule. It's just when we're ready to do it. Now, the reason we're not ready to do it is because we've got other stuff going on. Okay, so in between seasons, so season 8 wrapped up towards the first or second week of January, I guess, right? Between then, we dropped Threesies, which is the collectible project. Okay, we're going to defrock Cardinale. Okay, so that's an older series where they're all Roman Catholic cardinals, and we're going to burn 3 of any particular one. 3 editions will then, if you burn those 3, you get the defrocked version. Okay, so we're going to take, show why that Roman Catholic cardinal was kicked out of the Catholic Church. Okay, that's what that painting is. So we got to do that. Now, after that, we're going to paint our subs. So subs is another team, and so what you do there is if you have any of the old base cards, you can burn that base card along with a gray Marlena and any colored Marlenas. So you got to have 3 of them to make a new. I paint a new version of that sub that's painted. It's like all blue or all purple or all light pink, whatever you're deciding, right? So you control that. So we have these elements that have to be dealt with. We'll have an insert drop like the Valentines, and that may play out with different utilities and different drops and stuff. But mainly, we're the mileposts are the new seasons. Okay, so when they happen, that's sort of the big buzz. That's where everybody's sort of moving towards that and waiting for that. And part of that is because they're very valuable on the secondary market and they're very cheap to buy. I keep them the same price that my very first drops were. So every season it resets. Every first card of every season only costs 1 TES, right? Which automatically sells for 50 or 80 or 100 TES, right? So maybe it's the financial aspect. Maybe it's just the collector aspect. So you want the new team, you want to be involved in the new thing. Whatever it is, it's sort of the event. And so I've announced that that's going to be coming up towards the end of March, okay, is when we're going to do season 9. It'll be a new team. There was one series that I didn't even allow to the public. There was no drop form. There were no drop forms. There was no way for the public. It was a strictly grotto, and that was season 7, the Cardinale. Okay, but for 8, I went back and allowed the public to drop. So I put out a link that's got a Google form, and you register for the form, sort of like you did when you got your Valentine's drops and stuff. And so you're involved, and the way we do it is live at an LFG. We load up all these different wheels, some of them for holders, some for burners, some for swipes, some for quads, which is another project of mine, and then some for the public drop. And if you're on the public drop, you get one entry. Okay, you can double your entry by contributing to our vault, which is like a community wallet, and so then we spin these wheels with all these names on them, and whoever wins gets the chance to buy. So it's sort of an event. So that's why, not only the collector, everybody wants a piece of it and is a part of it, but the event of a draw, it's like our Christmas and Super Bowl and everything wrapped all together. The excitement, especially like the first drop of a new series, because nobody knows what the series is going to be. And of course, for any of these drops, you never know what the is. You're doing it blind. The painting is revealed after the drop, and that's a part of the fun too, right? So you don't know who these new characters are or who that plays out. So, you're going to buy a swipe and get into the grotto, so that'll give you extra entries. You can burn some of these Valentines that you got for extra entries. You can go out and purchase older pieces so that you're in the holders. There's all these ways to get yourself more chances at winning a drop. And when you win the drop, you still got to buy it, but you're winning the right to buy it. So that's what we talk about when we're talking about drops.
Okay, I appreciate that. I mean, as you know, and everyone knows, it's a little confusing at first, but I think the more I hear you, every time I hear you or, Sandman has talked to me a lot and Chris has talked to me a lot, I think I learn a little bit more each time. So I appreciate that. And that kind of all is fallen together. So I'm excited. Thanks again.
No, appreciate it. And thanks for, appreciate the question and appreciate your interest and really appreciate hanging out with you and Rob. You guys are great people. We look forward to a long relationship here. It's great.
Yes, we will do it again. And next time we'll do 2 nights.
Yes, exactly. And give Rob a hug for me. He loves my hugs.
Give him an extra big hug for you.
All right, perfect. All right, Ratro, you're up. What do you got?
I just wanted to just say to Ali, it was very nice meeting her and her husband. They definitely hung a lot longer than a lot of people we met this weekend. But, I gotta say that anybody
Thanks,
can
Ratro.
So,
we had a lot of fun with you too.
So
it was well worth it.
Just be prepared and ready for the next time. Okay.
Look at that. How sweet. We got a Ratro appearance. Ratro's usually shy and reserved. If anybody can speak to that, he's a very shy and reserved person.
I tried to tell you, I don't like to talk in our grottos or this kind of sessions. It's like, if you want to know me or hear me, you got to meet me in real life.
Very true. Yeah, you come out of the shadows in real life and take the goddamn spotlight. Retro is key to the success of all of our live events, which is a big part of the community, right? So as you collect and as you play along and we get to know you, the community is so phenomenal. I mean, the best group of people. I mean, I'll say this in the grotto all the time. Maybe the public doesn't hear me say this, right? But there's 375 people in the grotto. Some are there because they've held on. They're like they've done what the necessary bit to not be removed in any of the sort of sweeps that we have. Every once in a while, I like to shake it up and get people that aren't really active out. But there's 375 people in there. I've spoken with every one of them. I know every one of them, right? But there's 175, 180 hardcore, 90 like crazy hardcore that I consider to be my best friends in the world. I mean, honestly, I love this community. I've got more friends now than I've ever had in my entire life, and I trust them all with my life, and we just like being together. And when we did our first event in November for NFT NYC, I had no idea who these people were going to be showing up. I'd talked to them for months, and but until you meet a person and hang out, you don't know. And to this day, everybody that's shown up and that's made that effort to fly out to wherever I am, and so we've done New York and Miami and Boston, and now a little bit in Vegas. Vegas was not an official event. I didn't call for people to come, yet I still had people showing up, right? But they're just the best people in the world, and I just really appreciate all of you. So, and Ratro has made that atmosphere something that is appealing to go to. So I appreciate you, Rat, and everything you do for us. So thank you, and thank you for coming up. And we're doing these early ones because Ratro he can't make the late ones because he's got a wacky Vegas schedule. But it's good to be here. Anybody else want to come up, or we can put a bow on this? I think we're probably going to call it. It's really great to see Lorna Mills in here, one of my favorite artists, pioneer in the gift space, and really appreciate your support. She's been involved with Valentine's Drop, and I collect anything of hers that I can, and the Grotto does too. I hope you know, Lorna, that the Grotto supports you and collects you, and we're very very much appreciative of your art. I know Mikey has a bunch, Ratro has some, Christoph has some. I would imagine that available that Lenny has some. I know Fatbrick. So yeah, I could look at all these people. I know a lot of your collectors are in here. So good to see you. Anybody else got anything before I shut it down? All right, we're gonna call it. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Christoph. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, I next time I'm in LA, I hope to see some of you LA people that weren't able to make it last night. And, I think I haven't yet decided. I'm on the fence if we're going to do Miami NFT week the first week of April. I know it's getting a little late on me to decide, but I haven't completely decided. We'll figure that out here, and then maybe by the end of the week, I'll make some plans. I got to look at some things, but otherwise, we'll see everybody in June for certain in New York, and I'll see everybody in the Grotto tomorrow for LFG at 4:30. All right, appreciate everybody stopping in. We'll do this every week. Just open it up and just maybe I'll have some more news. We can talk specifically stuff, or maybe you guys will have some burning questions. But I appreciate all of you. You have a good rest of your days. I'll see you in the Grotto tomorrow.